You feel everything. The joy, the pain, the energy in a room, the emotions people try to hide. You don't just experience life, you absorb it. As an INFJ, your emotional world is intense. One moment, you're deeply connected, moved by the smallest details of life. The next, you feel drained, misunderstood, or completely detached as if your emotions are too much for the world to handle. But here's what makes INFJ different. They don't just feel deeply, they endure. They don't just break under emotional weight, they transform it into wisdom, into strength, into something untouchable. This is the INFJ emotional paradox, high sensitivity paired with extreme mental toughness. So how do they do it? How do INFJ stay strong without losing their depth? How do they master their emotions without shutting down their empathy? In this video, we're diving into the INFJ emotional roller coaster, exposing the struggles, the strengths, and the exact mindset shifts INFJ need to turn emotional depth into an unstoppable force. Let's begin. The INFJ emotional duality. INFJ live in two worlds, the world of deep emotions and the world of quiet strength. They feel everything. The pain of a stranger, the unspoken words in a conversation, the energy in a room before anyone says a word. It's like having an emotional radar that never turns off. Most people assume that feeling this deeply must be overwhelming. And sometimes it is. INFJ get exhausted, drained, even lost in emotions that aren't even theirs. But here's what makes them different. They don't let it break them. While most people either suppress emotions or get consumed by them, INFJ learn how to carry the weight without letting it crush them. They turn pain into wisdom. Every heartbreak, every disappointment, every moment of feeling misunderstood, it all gets stored, not as baggage, but as lessons. They turn struggle into strength. INFJ don't avoid deep emotions. They dive into them, process them, and emerge stronger. They turn loneliness into purpose. Feeling different, feeling disconnected. INFJ use that solitude to reflect, to grow, to sharpen their vision. This is why they are both the most sensitive and the strongest people you will ever meet. They don't just survive emotions, they master them. Next, let's explore why INFJ experience such extreme emotional highs and lows and how they can navigate this inner storm. Why INFJ experience emotional highs, lows. One moment, an INFJ feels deeply connected to the world. The next, they feel completely detached, like they don't belong anywhere. Why does this happen? INFJ don't just experience emotions, they absorb them, analyze them, and predict where they're leading. Their intuition is wired to detect patterns, hidden emotions, and future outcomes before anyone else notices. And this deep awareness, it creates an emotional storm inside them. When things feel right, when they connect with someone, when they're aligned with their purpose, INFJ feel an intense emotional high. It's not just happiness, it's a sense of deep fulfillment, clarity, and flow. But when things feel wrong, when they sense deception, when they feel misunderstood, when they see chaos coming before it happens, their energy crashes. They spiral into self-reflection, isolation, and emotional exhaustion. This emotional roller coaster isn't random. It's a byproduct of their deep intuition. They sense shifts in people before they're even spoken. They anticipate disappointment before it arrives. They feel the weight of emotions, both theirs and others. The key to balance? Learning to separate their own emotions from the emotions they absorb. Not every feeling is theirs to carry. INFJ don't have to escape their emotions. They just need to navigate them without getting lost. Next, let's talk about the burden of over-awareness, why INFJ absorb emotions from others and how it affects them. The burden of over-awareness. Walk into a room, and an INFJ doesn't just see people. They feel them. They pick up on subtle shifts in tone, fleeting expressions, and the weight of unspoken emotions. It's not something they try to do, it just happens. They absorb energy like a sponge, whether they want to or not. This is both a gift and a burden. When someone is hurting, INFJ don't just notice, they feel the pain as if it's their own. When tension fills the air, they carry it in their chest. Even if no one says a word, they already know who's struggling, who's faking a smile, and who's hiding something. And over time, this emotional overload becomes exhausting. They take on emotions that don't belong to them, feeling drained, anxious, or sad without even knowing why. They struggle to separate their own feelings from others. Their emotions become tangled with the energy around them. They become emotionally exhausted from simply existing in chaotic environments. Most people can block out the emotions of others. INFJ, they carry them. But here's the truth, you can't save everyone. You're not responsible for fixing every pain you feel. The moment INFJ learn to release emotions that don't belong to them, they reclaim their energy. Next, let's talk about emotional transmutation, how INFJ turn emotional pain into strength, growth, and wisdom. The power of emotional transmutation. Pain breaks some people, it hardens others, but INFJ, they transform it. For an INFJ, emotions don't just pass through, they stay, they shape them. But unlike most, INFJ don't drown in pain, they learn from it. Every heartbreak, every betrayal, every moment of feeling misunderstood, it all gets stored, not as baggage, but as wisdom. This is emotional transmutation, the ability to take suffering and turn it into something powerful. They turn wounds into understanding. Every painful experience deepens their empathy. They know what it feels like to be broken, so they become a source of healing for others. They turn isolation into self-discovery. INFJ spends so much time feeling different, disconnected, but in that solitude, they find clarity, purpose, and the kind of strength no one can take away. They turn past struggles into unshakable intuition. Every lesson, every heartbreak, every gut feeling they ignored. It sharpens their ability to see through people and situations. And most people let pain define them. INFJ, they let it refine them. Because when an INFJ masters emotional transmutation, they don't just survive pain, they use it to become unstoppable. Next, let's talk about using stoicism to master emotions, how INFJ can stay strong without losing their empathy. Using stoicism to master emotions. INFJ feel everything, but that doesn't mean they have to be ruled by their emotions. They care deeply. They absorb energy, they sense things most people miss. And yet, if they let every emotion take control, they'd be in a constant state of exhaustion. So, how do INFJ balance deep sensitivity with mental toughness? By practicing stoicism. Stoicism isn't about ignoring emotions, it's about mastering them. It's the ability to feel without being controlled, to care without being consumed, to respond instead of react. Here's how INFJ can apply stoicism without losing their empathy. Detach from the things you can't control. INFJ often take on other people's problems, but not every battle is theirs to fight. Let go of what isn't yours. Observe emotions without letting them dictate your actions. Feel deeply, but pause before reacting. You are not your emotions, you are the one watching them. Protect your energy with logic. INFJ lead with their heart, but a strong mind keeps them balanced. Ask, is this worth my energy? If not, let it go. Use emotions as data, not dictators. Emotions provide insight, but they shouldn't make decisions for you. INFJ thrive when they balance intuition with reason. By practicing stoicism, INFJ don't have to shut down their empathy. They just learn how to carry it without letting it carry them. Next, let's talk about setting emotional boundaries, how INFJ can protect themselves from exhaustion while still being deeply connected. Setting emotional boundaries. INFJ have a rare ability to connect, to understand, to feel what others can't. But the cost, they give too much. They absorb too much, and eventually they burn out. Without emotional boundaries, INFJ find themselves feeling drained after every interaction, carrying emotions that don't belong to them, struggling to say no because they feel guilty for putting themselves first. But here's the truth, boundaries don't push people away. They protect your energy. And when INFJ learn to set them, they don't just survive, they thrive. Here's how to set emotional boundaries without guilt. Recognize what is yours to carry and what isn't. Just because you feel someone's pain doesn't mean it's your job to fix it. Give energy intentionally, not out of obligation. Your kindness should be a gift, not a sacrifice. If helping drains you, it's not helping, it's self-destruction. Limit access to your emotional space. Not everyone deserves to hear your thoughts, feel your support, or take your time. Choose where your energy goes. Say no without explaining. INFJ over-explain because they don't want to hurt feelings, but no is a full sentence. Use it. When an INFJ sets boundaries, something powerful happens. They reclaim their energy, their peace, and their power. Next, let's talk about navigating INFJ loneliness, how to balance solitude and connection without losing yourself. Navigating INFJ loneliness, inner conflict. INFJ crave deep connections, yet they need solitude to survive. This creates an endless internal conflict, one that most people will never understand. One moment, An INFJ longs for meaningful relationships. They want to be seen, understood, deeply connected. But the next, they pull away, even from the people they love. Not because they don't care, but because they need space to breathe, to recharge, to find themselves again. This cycle creates a unique struggle. INFJ often feel lonely, even when they aren't alone. They feel misunderstood in crowds. They crave connection, but get drained by too much socializing. They love people, but they also need to be alone. So, how does an INFJ balance this paradox? Accept that solitude isn't isolation. Alone time isn't running away, it's returning to yourself. INFJ must embrace their need for space without guilt. Prioritize quality over quantity. INFJ don't need a large social circle. A few deep, meaningful connections matter more than 100 surface-level ones. Communicate their needs. Most people won't understand INFJ energy shifts unless they explain. I need time alone, but it doesn't mean I don't care about you. Find peace in their own company. The best way to stop feeling lonely? Learn to enjoy solitude, not fear it. INFJ will always walk a fine line between connection and solitude, but once they accept both sides of themselves, they no longer feel lost. They feel whole. Next, let's talk about how an INFJ can thrive emotionally, fully embracing their depth while staying mentally strong. Thriving as an emotionally powerful INFJ. For so long, you felt like your emotions were too much, too intense, too overwhelming. But what if I told you your emotions aren't a weakness? They are your greatest strength. INFJ don't need to shut down their emotions to survive. They don't need to numb themselves to be strong. They just need to master the balance. Here's how INFJ can thrive emotionally without losing themselves. Own your emotional depth. Stop apologizing for feeling deeply. Your emotions allow you to understand the world in a way most never will. Lead with both heart and mind. Being emotional doesn't mean being irrational. INFJ thrive when they blend intuition with logic, empathy with wisdom. Protect your energy fiercely. Not everyone deserves access to your thoughts, your emotions, or your time. Choose where you invest yourself. See your emotions as a tool, not a trap. Emotions aren't there to control you, they're there to guide you. Use them, but don't let them use you. When an INFJ fully embraces their emotional power, they become unstoppable. Your emotions are not a burden. Your depth is not a curse. And your ability to feel deeply, fully, completely is what makes you powerful. But here's the truth, having emotional strength isn't enough. You have to use it. So here's your challenge. Stop apologizing for who you are. Your emotions are a gift, not a flaw. Start protecting your energy. Not everyone deserves access to your depth. Own your INFJ power. Stop trying to be less for people who don't understand your strength. If this video resonated with you, hit like, drop a comment, and subscribe for more deep insights into INFJ psychology, self-mastery, and emotional resilience. Because the world doesn't need a quieter, smaller version of you. It needs you fully, completely, and unapologetically.